is out there without fixing props.
I don't have time to discuss it with Paul.
I'm at your
You'll be
service,
watching it from
sir.
now on, all right? Or I'll have to find another vet.
You can't just sack me, steward. I got this job from Ulrich von Neuhaus.
But I can make sure he knows how you run the place. That's the fifth yucca who got
Greetings
scrushed in
to
here.
you two.
This is some jiggery pokery.
Be quiet. And now clear off. Hey, stranger. What are you doing here?
You're a Christian of Pisek?
I am. What do you need?
Kunzlin Ruthard sent me. About Via Argentum.
I see. But I'm afraid I don't have good news for Sir Kunzling. I haven't made much progress regarding the matter we discussed. I just don't have the time to investigate. I'm always needed somewhere, and there's always someone following me around.
Well, that's why I'm here. I'll help you with your investigation.
Excellent. You'd be pulling a thorn from my side. What's your name?
Henry.
All right. Listen up, Henry. Nobody can know I'm looking into it. It's a very dangerous game, but hopefully I don't need to tell you that.
Lord Ruthard mentioned something of the sort.
Excellent. Excellent. You don't happen to come from a family of miners or smelters, do you?
My father was a blacksmith.
It's a fine craft. But it won't teach you much about silver mining and processing. I'll be happy to tell you everything you need to know. Now, follow me, please. We need to talk somewhere in private.
Where should I start looking?
Straight to the point. I like that. We know for a fact the silver must be getting lost somewhere on its way to the mint. That means it would be best to discreetly inspect all operations and find out where the problem is. First of all, you should ask miners from every shift how many corves they mine in a day. After that, we'll compare the numbers to the mine record books and see.
But the yields aren't the same every day, right?
True. That's why we have to focus on one particular day. For example, the other day, on the Feast of St. Petronilla, Foreman Fett was beaming and bragging to me about how much it helped. Mined out.
Couldn't I just ask Fett?
Fett's job is to count the corves and write the amount down in the mine book. He won't tell you any other number. We're interested in what the miners themselves have to say. They've no reason to hide anything. Nevertheless, the miners are a strange bunch. They might not be very forthcoming at first, and they have an odd way of speaking. Like calling each other Sonny, however old they are. But you'll hear for yourself. You should pretend to be really interested in them, and maybe they'll open up to you. You could be a scholar writing a treatise on silver mining. Or perhaps a nobleman interested in buying a mine. Or just say I'm your distant uncle who's initiating you into the ins and outs of my job. It's up to you.
I reckon I could pose as a curious scholar.
Suit yourself. Just don't change your story so you don't arouse suspicion. But to the point, each day 3 shifts work in the shaft. Each has its foreman, or gaffer, as they say. The first shift is led by Frank, the second by Paul, and the third by Samko. You'll have to ask each one of them how many corves they mine. Samko's hewers should be off work now. You'll find the other 2 shifts in the mine. Take this, so the guards will let you in. It's a letter of safe conduct bearing my seal, allowing you free movement within the mine.
And what are you going to do?
I'll return to the estate to do my job. What else? I reckon they must be wondering where I am by now. Once you find out how many corves the 3 shifts mined on the Feast of St. Petronilla, return to me. We'll compare that number to the entry in the mine book. And don't forget, don't draw attention.
Who owns the silver that's mined here?
All the silver in the Kingdom of Bohemia belongs to the king, whether it's above ground or still below it. Though I'm sure you understand, the king has a lot on his mind. and he can't be expected to worry about mining, so he leases out the mining rights to his tenants. It's called the Burgergau. There's a lot of money in it. The tenants have to pay the king, and the king also receives a share of the pure silver from the smelting works. That's the royal tithe.
What is this path of silver, anyway?
It's the whole process, from digging the silver ore out of the ground and processing it, to minting silver coins. Silver is found in ore veins underground. The pitmen mine it and get it to the surface. The chief foreman of a gallery counts the corves, and the assayer estimates the purchase price of the ore for the smelter. The raw ore goes to the smelter, where it's crushed in a stamp mill before it can be purified by roasting. Roasted ore goes to the furnaces, where it's smelted into raw and then pure silver. Silver is then cast into rods about as thick as your little finger.
Can any silver get lost?
It can. And unfortunately, it does happen. It may be a capital offence, but even that won't deter everyone. Most often, a pitman tries to smuggle pieces of ore under his clothes. It doesn't end well. Nevertheless, the entire path of the silver, from the ore beneath the ground to minted coins, is closely guarded. Every step is recorded in the books, so if someone is stealing large quantities, they must have it pretty damn well figured out.
Who checks the royal share?
The royal mint master and his subordinates are responsible for collecting the royal share. That also means me and the shaft foreman. That is why every step of the path of silver is monitored and recorded, starting with how much ore is mined. The smelting works owners don't have to be monitored as closely, since they buy the ore from us. It's in their best interest to get the highest possible yield after deducting the royal share.
Who makes money from all this?
The thing is, everyone does. Pitmen get paid for mining in the shaft. Mine operators get paid for raw ore. The smelters then smelt everything, sell the pure silver, and deduct the raw tithe. The silver rubs off on the hands of anyone who even touches it. But there's still enough left over for the king.
Who owns the mines?
The king grants mining rights to his loyal subjects. And these leaseholders can rent out their privileges to other people. All sorts of people operate mines in Kuttenberg. Nobility, rich burghers, even the monastery. In fact, anyone with enough money to pay for new shafts to be dug can share in the proceeds.
Who's responsible for the mines?
The mines and the mint are supervised directly by the royal mint master, Ulrich Vervark von Neuhaus. As the steward, I'm his direct subordinate. I oversee that everything runs smoothly on his behalf. Then come the chief foreman, then the other foreman, and finally the ordinary pitmen in the shafts. But I don't come in contact with them very often. We follow the path of silver until the moment an ore merchant buys the ore from us and takes it to a smelter.
How much do the mines pay to the king?
That depends on whether it's a royal mine or a mine in the hands of a mining guild, meaning the leaseholders.
I thought all mines were owned by the king.
That's right. But it's much more profitable for the king to grant mining rights to rich mine operators. They bear the cost of mining themselves and pay him a share. The king receives 1/3 of the profits from his own mines, but only 1/5 from the leaseholders. That's how he gets what's his from all the mining.
What about the other 2/3 of the profits from the king's mines?
Those go towards the costs, of course, for operations, wages, and shaft security.
Who's responsible for the smelting works?
They have their own owners. They buy ore from us and smelt it into pure silver. Then they deduct the royal tithe and they can sell the rest. And not just silver. Processing the ore yields a variety of other materials that can be sold just as well.
What happens in the smelting works?
Each smelting shop has a stamp mill, a roasting pit, and a smelting furnace. The stamp mill is used to crush the ore into smaller pieces to make it easier to process. After that, the crushed ore is roasted in a roasting pit to remove most of the impurities. Finally, everything is smelted in a furnace to separate the pure silver from the slag.
So it's processed similarly to steel for smithing?
Yes, but in steelmaking, you don't have to weigh and record every step thrice.
How are groschen made from the silver?
The royal share from the smelting works goes to the mint in the Italian court. There, the coiners hammer it out into silver sheets for cutting the coin blanks. Then, in the Italian court's preghouse, our minters cut out and punch new groschen.
How many mints are there in total?
Only the main one is left, the one in the Italian court. There used to be more of them throughout the kingdom, but King Wenceslas II united them all. It was he who contributed the most to the rise of the Prague Groschen and the wealth of this region. And of course, his own wealth too.
By the way, I've had the honour of meeting your brother, Peter.
Well, well. Small world.
He was a great help to us at Suchdol.
Even though we had some disagreements, I respect him for everything he succeeded in doing. If it weren't for him, I'd never have been able to do what I do.
Heal.
Aye, come here.
Look what I have for you.
Come here.
Look what I have for you. Look what I have for you.
I'm always glad to see polite people like you. God be with you.
God be with you.
Quick! Quick! Oh, boom! Die!
Are you Foreman Samko?
Aye, I am. Who's asking?
My name is Henry. Steward Christian sent me to you. I'm a student from Prague, and I'm writing a treatise on miners and mine operations.
Why should I care? Didn't you see we're off graft?
Sir Christian told me to ask about anything that interests me, and that you'll tell me.
Ah, Sonny, I'm so tired. I haven't even got the strength for gabbing. I wouldn't mind having a game of dice, but minus rules. Then I'll tell you everything. What'd you say?
You should obey Sir Christian and just tell me what I want to know. You don't want him coming to you when you're off work to tell you off.
That I don't, kidder. Ask away, then.
What is the work of a miner about?
Aye, that's a good question, Mara. Mostly about Alkin. Any yakker'll tell you that. But proper rest is even more important than graft. You're as weak as a midgie without it.
So how do you rest?
Depends. Some have a kit, some a swally, some go whoring. As for me, I play dice.
How do you mine ore?
Either we're on hard rock, and then no one's hewing shit, or we're hewing something soft, and then it goes grand. Only then there's not much silver in the ore, and you've got to smelt the shit out of it.
How much do you make doing this?
Don't even get me started. The chink's bad, and it's getting worse. Half a grosh and a cough is no.
How many corves did you mine on, say, the Feast of St. Petronilla?
I can tell you exactly. All the yakkers were working, and we were getting along nicely. We managed to hulk 34 corves, without skimping on hame time. First time in ages, that was.
That's all I need to know.
I'm sorry.
Foreman Frank?
What you looking for, Sonny? Can't you see we're hewing?
Sir Christian of Pisek sent me. I'm a student at the university in Prague. Henry. I'm writing a treatise on silver mining.
I didn't know you scribblers were interested in us ordinary yakkers, but you can't just amble around. You'll cap your creels.
I just have a few questions.
The more we gab, the less we gar. But make it snappy, man. What do you want to know, like?
What is the work of a miner really about?
What's it about? Bugger all, kidder. No great shakes. We gans through the roads, Bella. Hewing off from rock in the dark and breathing in the stithe.
How exactly do you mine ore?
Bloody hell. Have you never seen a yakker graft, kidder? You take a kevel and ding away at the rock till it crumbles. And if you keep ganning at it for a couple of years and don't croak from the stithe, then you'll keel over from exhaustion or get scrushed by the ceiling of the road you're hewing.
How do you get the ore outside?
Same way it's hewed, in the dark and in coves. On top of that, you spend a lot of the bloody time on all fours. Once you get out by with the corf, you get a tally, and you can get back in by.
I wonder, how much do you mine in a day?
That depends on how much ore you howk out of this or that face. It varies.
How much did you mine, say, on the Feast of St. Petronilla?
Listen, kidder. Aren't you a bit too curious? Why do you need to know that for? Them numbers won't be useful to nobody.
I really need to know it for my work. My treatise won't be complete without it. Est rerum omnium magister usus. Experience is the best teacher. And you have that experience.
Aye, well, a clever head but a gawk-handed, eh? Alright, I'll tell you. It was a good gar on the Feast of St. Petronilla. Our yakkers hewed 36 corves.
Thanks. How much do you get for your work?
I'll tell you, man. Them deputies up at Bank make a howfin' pile of chink. But us buggers, the ones doing all the graft, we earn a pittance.
Can you give me a more specific number?
Sometimes, not even half a grosh and a cough. That's near way to make a living, man. See you soon, my friend. Right, now this.
Where can I find your foreman, Paul?
What you doing here, kidder? Who let you in, bay?
I've got a letter of safe conduct from Christian of Pisek. I'm a student from Prague. I'm trying to get to know the miner's life from up close and write a thesis on it.
Right? A thesis? Well, be damned.
I just need to ask your foreman a few things.
Our gaffer's gone down there to pray. I don't know if he'd be up for talking, but...
Why wouldn't he be in the mood for talking?
Young Jaybird, one of our marrows, got scrushed the other day. He hadn't even had a full week on the graft, poor lad. It happened the day before the feast of Saint Petronilla. You'll find Paul at the lowest level by the roof fall. He's praying for the salvation of his soul. You'll hear the wind howling in the adit down there. It can be heard as far as that cursed road. I hear it's haunted. Don't fret, but Saint Barbara look out for you. Take care, sir.
Sorry.
Are you Foreman Paul?
Hey! You walk like a ghost, kidder. You gave me a bit of a fright there. Hold on. I don't know ye. Who are you? And what are you doing so deep in the pit?
My name's Henry. Sir Christian sent me. I'm a student at the university in Prague, and I'm writing a thesis on the life and lot of miners. I hate to interrupt your prayers for a dead friend, but I need to ask you something.
He weren't just me marrow. He were my blood. I raised him from a nipper since my sister died. He kept begging me to take him on a shift, saying he was strong as a horse. Wouldn't have taken her like. And now, I can't forgive myself.
There's no more pain in heaven. Don't be so hard on yourself.
You're right. I hope the Lord has welcomed the poor lad into the kingdom of heaven. Will you pray with me for his soul one last time?
Aye. I'll pray with you.
You're a canny lad. Repeat after me. Almighty and merciful God, our Father, you are the giver of gold, silver, bronze, copper,
Almighty and
iron,
merciful God,
and
our
all
Father,
ores and metals.
you are the giver
I ask
of
that you
gold,
bless my brother
silver,
who has died in this
bronze,
mine.
copper,
And may your
tin,
holy angels
iron,
save his soul from
and all
damnation.
ores and
Bring
metals.
his soul to
I ask that
eternal
you bless
glory
my
through
brother
our Lord,
who has died
our
in this
Saviour and
mine.
Redeemer, Jesus
May your
Christ.
holy angels save
Amen.
his soul from
The
damnation.
angel of the Lord declared
Bring
unto
his soul
Mary,
to eternal
and she
glory
conceived the Holy
through
Spirit.
our Lord,
Hail
our
Mary.
Saviour and
And
Redeemer,
Mary said,
Jesus
Behold,
Christ.
I am the handmaid of the
Amen.
Lord. Be it done unto me according to thy word. Hail Mary. And the word was made flesh, and dwelt among us. Hail Mary. Pray for us, our holy...
So, are you going to answer me now?
Aye. Thanks for praying with me. Ask about out.
What is the work of a miner about?
What it's about? It's about hewing the face and hauling the ore to the bank in coves. Over and over again. Proper graft, that. Can be real dodgy, mind. Might even do you in.
Are deaths in the mine common?
Aye. But every death in the shaft is a waste. Whether it's in a crumple or black damp. Unfortunately, we still bury a yakka or two a month, you know. That's life like.
How is the ore mined?
First, we have to survey the shaft and find ore. Then the place gets scored and set ablaze. We set up timber around. The hewers take their tools and start dinging rock and hewing ore. Nothing to it.
So how many corves did you mine, say, on the Feast of St. Petronilla?
That weren't a good day. Nobody was in the mood for ganning on after what happened to Jaybird. But even so, we managed to hawk 30 corves.
How much do you make doing this?
Depends on how much we hawk. How hard the rock is, how much ore's in it. It's not really worth it, though. Half a grosh and a corf isn't much of a fight.
That's all I need to know.
grüß dich. Was für ein...
You're the local ore merchant.
Naja, I buy ore.
My name is Henry, and I'm here by Sir Christian's permission. I study at the university in Prague, and I'm writing a thesis on silver mining.
Wirklich? Interesting. In any case, you are in the right place. The Horshan shafts are some of the most profitable in all of Kuttenberg. I am Hermann. If you have any Fragen, I am happy to answer them.
As an ore merchant, what do you do?
My job is to buy ore from the mines and resell it to the smelting works. Every day I count the amount of the ore mined and test its quality. That is why we are also called assayers. Depending on the quality, I then estimate the price at which I can sell the ore.
Do you buy silver together with the stone?
I do. You can only get pure silver from the stone in the smelting works. That is why it is important to know how much of it is in the ore.
How do you estimate the price?
It takes skill and experience. I go through a few curves, get some samples, and bring them down here to assay them. Then I estimate the ratio of silver to the waste and set the price according to the average.
And the price is always the same?
Nein. The price of the curves is determined by the highest bidder. The smelter that can pay the most gets it. The important thing is to keep an eye on costs, so we do not end up paying more for the ore than we get for the pure silver.
How many corves do you buy a day?
It varies. It depends on the rock that is being hewed. When you hew into hard rock, the yield is smaller than from soft rock, which crumbles with little effort, but there's little silver in it.
How many corves did you buy lately? For example, on the Feast of St. Petronilla?
Sancta Petronilla? Weiß nicht. Entschuldigung. I do not remember. You can ask Christian, though. It is all in the books.
I already know how many corves the crews extracted on the Feast of St. Petronilla. It was 100 altogether.
I see. Meanwhile, I looked in the mine book. How many do you think it says there?
I'd guess it's less.
Then you'd be correct. The book lists 90 corves extracted. That means 10 corves of ore disappear each day. But nobody could just come along and take them. We keep a close watch on everything. The unreported corves must be going out to smelting works with the rest of the ore. That means...
What does it mean?
that this is fraud of colossal proportions, and that Foreman Fett and Herman the ore merchant are in it up to their ears.
What about Vavak?
I still think the trail will lead us to him, but we know too little so far. You need to talk to Fett and Herman first. Being involved in the theft of silver is a capital crime, so it should be in their own interest to cooperate. Make sure to promise them no one will know about their crime. You can mention my name. When you've talked to them, come back to me and we'll figure out what to do next.
We need to talk, Herman.
Was ist denn los?
Sir Christian sent me. We found some discrepancies in the mine book.
Discrepancies?
How do you explain that the miner has extracted 100 cores of ore on the Feast of St. Petronilla, but the book only says 90.
If it says 90, there must have been 90. The book does not lie.
In that case, someone else must be lying.
Or someone just cannot count. Why are you bothering me with this? Foreman Fett counts the corves here. Go and talk to him instead.
Don't tell me you don't count them too. You wouldn't pay for more corves than there really were.
Do you have any idea how much ore passes through my hands? How am I supposed to remember how many there were ausgerechnet on the Fest of St. Petronilla? Besides, miners can lie and say they extracted more than they did. They like to show off.
All 3 crews agreed to report more. I seriously doubt that. Look, you don't have to be afraid to tell the truth. Me and Sir Christian agreed to settle the matter quietly. We're not going to punish anyone.
I am innocent. It was Fett's idea. He came to me saying we were going to deliver more corves to the smelters than we would report, and I would get paid for it. It was going well. I have always paid for what we put in the book. Then I got some geld from Fett on the side. On the feast of St. Petronilla, I was afraid they would be able to tell the difference. 10 corves is 10 corves after all. Nobody at the smelting works cared at all. I am sure they are in on it too.
How long has this been going on?
Several months, maybe half a year. About since Sigismund arrived.
Is Ulrich Vavak behind this?
The Mint Master? I have no idea. I am a mere assayer. I have never even met Vavak.
Sir Christian and I agreed to investigate the matter in secret, so just act like nothing's going on. Keep doing what you're doing. We don't want to scare off the people who are actually responsible. You understand?
Yeah, I understand. I will be as silent as the grave.
A word, Foreman.
Who are you? And what do you want?
I'm Henry. But that's not important. Sir Christian sent me. I need to discuss a delicate matter with you.
Don't tell me one of the yakkers shat all over the outhouse in the yard again.
I'm afraid it's a little worse than that. We found some discrepancies in the mine book.
Let Sir Christian handle it then. They're his books, and his responsibility too.
But you're the one counting the corves of ore.
Your point being?
I learned that the miners extracted no less than 100 corves on the Feast of St. Petronilla, but the mine book says 90.
Do you think the yakkers know how to count? They're blockheads, and they like to show off. I'm sure they just exaggerated. Anyway, what's it to you? Did the steward send you to snoop around? Don't you know? I work for Vavek, the mint master himself. I'm under his protection.
Aye, there's no point in denying it. Herman told me everything.
Bloody snitch.
He had no choice. If you tell me everything you know right now, you'll go unpunished. I can guarantee that in Sir Christian's name.
Kvar, you're all I need. As soon as I was made head gaffer, Amara, who works at the smelting works in Grund, came to me. He said someone wanted to talk to me. One of them. So I met this fella in the tavern in Grund, and he told me how it all works. How to cut the books like. He told me the trick was not to report some of the extracted ore, and transport it secretly to the smelters, along with the rest. He made it very clear, if I didn't play along, I could have an accident. There was nothing I could do.
Who was that fella from the smelter who came to you?
He never told me his name, even when I asked. He's a tall bloke, stocky, pockmarked. I don't scare easy, but this bloke was reet terrifying.
How long has this been going on?
For some time now, definitely. I heard even former head gaffer Kircher was in on it too.
Where can I find him?
You can't ask Kircher any questions. He fell down a shaft. They say he was drunk, but I don't think it was an accident.
Who pays you on the side? You have to pay the miners for what they actually extracted.
I get the extra chink from the smelting works. It's enough for the yakkers and for Herman.
Do you think the mint master, Ulrich Vavak, is behind this?
I don't know. I've got naught bad to say about Vavak. He treats me canny whenever he shows up. He says if Christian gives us hassle, he'd sooner replace him than me. He really said that. The mint master himself.
All right. Just carry on as if nothing's happened. No one must find out we know about the fraud. Christian won't give you any trouble, nor will anyone else. Is that clear?
Clear as a bell, Mara. Always silent as the grave.
Good day to you, friend.
I talked to Fett and Herman.
And? Did they confess?
They did. I mean, I made them. It's just as we thought. The trail leads to the smelting works.
Did you tell them to keep quiet and act as if nothing's happening?
I did.
Let's see what we've got so far. Those 10 unreported corves leave for the smelting works from here. If silver's going missing, that's where it must be happening. You'll have to go and look around and talk to the owner, Buresh. I reckon that'll be tricky, though.
How so?
Buresh is a very cautious and clever man. I reckon he won't be happy to have someone snooping around his property. But he's the only one who can give you permission to walk round the smelting works without the guards bothering you.
Something like your letter of safe conduct. How can I persuade him to give me one?
Like I said, it won't be easy. Nevertheless, I found a way you could gain his trust, at least a little. You'll pretend to be a nobleman interested in buying some smelting works, who'd like to get a closer look at his operation.
A nobleman this time, then?
But be careful. Buresh won't be as easily fooled as the simple pitman here. You'll have to dress like a real nobleman. That means no plate armor, or, God forbid, bloody rags. But listen, don't carry a weapon. Buresh has a morbid fear of someone threatening him. That's why he has a bodyguard with him at all times. You must come to him dressed to the nines and act impeccably, so as not to arouse the slightest suspicion. In short, be charismatic as you can manage.
What else should I know about the smelting works before I go?
In the smelting works, ore from the mines is crushed, ground, and then smelted. They extract silver along with all sorts of other materials from it. Then they give part of the silver to the king for the minting of groschen and sell off the rest, along with the other materials, to craftsmen.
What should I know about this Buresh before I talk to him?
He's the slyest fox of them all. He comes from somewhere in Moravia, and he moved to Kuttenberg a few years ago. He started to prosper soon after, and not even Sigismund's arrival stopped him. He quickly joined his side. Now he's doing better and better. But whether that means he's involved in something shady, who knows?
What should I wear?
Like I said, some decent clothes. I reckon you can imagine what those look like. If you don't have anything of the sort, visit a tailor in town. I'm sure he can sell you something nice. If you're charismatic enough, Buresh is sure to believe your intentions are good. And make sure you wash up before you go. You can't go and see him looking like some dung-soiled peasant.
I got it. I'm ready to go.
Here, I've written you a letter of introduction to take with you and give to Buresh. I reckon he won't be thrilled, but he won't turn you down. Ask him discreetly, in passing, how many corves he took from our mines on the feast of Saint Petronella. If my guess is correct, it should be 90. It still doesn't prove anything, but at least it'll give us a clue. You could get something out of the workers. One of them is bound to know something. When you're in the smelting works, keep your eyes peeled. I'm sure something is going on there. Good luck, Henry.
Where should I look in the smelting works?
If you can get into the workshops, see if anything could be going missing from there. It'd also be a good idea to ask the workers if they've seen anything suspicious. I reckon I don't need to tell you to be as cautious as possible, do I? We don't want to cause a stir before we find out what's going on.
What are you whistling for?
Die! Die! Die!
quick! Easy, good horse.
You have no business. Oh! You trying to run me over, you idiot!
May God give you health, sir. Welcome, sir. What can I do for you?
Rumour has it you have a very skilled apprentice.
Matthias? That's right. The lad has got a God-given talent. Just look at this dagger he made me. Have you ever seen such fine work?
Pretty good work. For a village blacksmith. I expected worse.
Village blacksmith? What are you yammering about, you horse face? You've never seen anything so fine in your entire life.
Calm down. I'm telling you, I've been forging daggers like this with my father since I was a young lad.
Know what, you master of masters? I bet my apprentice is a better blacksmith than you. What do you say?
How would a bet like that work?
You'll give me a few groschen as a deposit and forge a hunting sword. Matthias is just working on one now. And if you forge a better one, you'll get both swords and I'll give you back twice as many groschen.
And of course, you'll be the judge, right?
Well, of course. But I'll decide fairly, don't you worry.
And what if my sword isn't better?
Then you lose and I keep the groschen. What else? Am I supposed to stick them up my arse? Do you take the bet or not?
I accept. I'll knock you down a peg and make some money while I'm at it.
You haven't won yet, Master Blacksmith. Yeah, that'll do. I say, that'll do.
Ugh.